Hey, it is Brent Leary. It is Friday afternoon. It's a sunny Friday afternoon. It is a playoff Friday before the playoffs. And yes, I am all decked out of my Rams gear, but I usually am. But I am sporting my new Rams hat today. It says Vamos Rams. I know a little bit of Spanish. That means go Rams. All right. We need to go now because it is small biz breakdown time. And as usual, there's a lot of stuff going on. So, with me today, as always, Leland from Oregon. Hey, Leland from Oregon.
Oh, I'm doing great. How's Atlanta?
It's great now. It's going to be a little cold in a couple of days, but you will be able to experience all that when you come to town. So.
If I'm going to go to the South, I want it to be a little bit warm. I'm disappointed that I'm going from some place that's supposed to be cold, but it's warm now, to some place that's cold and it's supposed to be warm.
Well, to make up for that, we will have a biscuit for you right from the South. So there you go.
Oh, that's going to be awesome. I'm looking forward to it.
Looking forward to speaking with Madam Mic Drop, as I like to call her, Evana Taylor, right from Medina.
It is good to be back. It is sunny and snowy in Hallmark Town, Medina, USA.
Hallmark Town?
That's what I'm calling. I mean, we got gazebos. We've got, time stands still. We got lots of entrepreneurs. We got lots of people coming in from big cities.
Okay.
Right? Who decide to stay.
All right.
Love is in the air.
Love is in the air, and it's a Hallmark Town. And now we're going to, I don't know, is New York, New Jersey, is that considered like a love in the air kind of town too, Ramon? Or?
New Jersey was rated the best state for love in the world by the National Love Foundation of the USA Federation of America.
Did you just make that off?
I was going to say, did you just make that up?
I just thought so. That was really good, though. For a second there, I was
very convincing.
Yeah, it was
said with true. That's what it takes. You just say it with confidence.
Hey, Leland. Hey, Brent. Good to be here.
Who else is here is good old Shashi from our nation's capital, where apparently they're going to have to move the inauguration of the guy that's coming in next week. Coming in, they're going to move it indoors because it's going to be pretty cold, maybe snowy weather up there, Shashi.
Yeah, I think it's called whatever Arctic something. So the heat is on with the new president coming in, but the cold is going to subdue it a little bit.
Well, I'm sure he will provide some hot air to go along with cold weather. Anyway. Moving right along, it's last but certainly least, it is the bold one. Did I say that right? I think I might have said it wrong. Who knows? He is the bold one. He is the cold one. It's kind of the old one at this point, too. John Colderice Lawson.
But damn, I look good.
Ooh. Good comeback. A bit of denial, but you're a good comeback.
No.
All right, folks, it's that time, man. I like to start these things off with a little trivia. Sometimes it's a lot of trivia, but here we go. All right, so actually, I asked this very same question on yesterday's show, and I know that none of you all watched it, so I feel comfortable posing this question to you too. All right, if I can get this thing going here.
42%. 42%. That's my answer.
Why is that not showing up?
Because that is the answer, right? That's the answer to everything.
Yes. All right. What percent? And this comes from the folks over at Andreessen Horowitz, one of those leading VC companies that invest in all these companies that we never hear of. And then all of a sudden they become like $100 billion market cap value companies overnight. What percent of U.S. consumers used a chatbot to research or decide on a purchase in the past 30 days? U.S. consumers only.
32%.
32%.
Just all U.S. consumers, not Digerati and all that. U.S. consumers. 30%. 30, whatever I just said, yeah.
30%?
I liked your original number.
I thought you said 32%.
32%, yeah. 32%.
He said 42 the first time, and I actually like that number. So Ramon, I am going to take your 42.
Take my 42. It's all yours.
So, wow, that's such a nice thing that you do. Let her take your 42. That's nice. Okay.
I'm going to take that 42 and I'm going to flip it and I'm going to say 24.
All right. So got 32, we got 42, we got 24. Shashi, what do you got?
72.
72. Shashi going strong. 72. And that leaves Mr. Lawson.
21.
21. So you're doing the prices right. You think they're all over, apparently.
Yeah, I'm gonna go lower.
So we go from 21 to 72. All right.
Wow.
The answer is 60%.
That's not true.
60%.
I
No,
don't
it can't be
know
true,
where.
Brent. That's bull. No.
60%.
It's crap.
Brent, they
What
interviewed the
chatbot?
Digerati.
Take it up with Andreessen Horowitz.
They
dude.
interviewed the technical Digerati. It's not everybody. My
What
mother's not using
chatbot?
AI.
U.S. consumers.
It's a lie.
What chatbot? Name one chatbot
Yeah.
that you can
Uh,
do
is it-
product
but,
research.
Wait a
with.
minute.
But-
Wait a minute. Isn't this
Hold
the
on,
person-
like websites have actually become chatbots, like
Yeah.
AI powered your
Oh.
search.
Is
and
that what
everything
you're-
else,
is
go
that-
shopping?
Is that
Amazon
what they're talking
has a
about?
chatbot.
They're all built
Yeah.
in now, aren't they?
Is that what they're talking about? That they use it on their website? Okay,
I
well,
saw that
I can
as
see
I
that.
thought was like a AI search, right?
Yeah.
Because that's
Yeah,
a
me too.
chatbot.
That's
John,
what
I'm with
Because
you
it
and
said to
even that.
research or decide on a
That's a-
purchase.
That's
Oh,
a
you
that's a
guys.
trick question.
It's all
That's
right.
high price
It's okay to be
futurists.
wrong every now and again.
No.
It's
Well,
okay,
it was a trick
guys.
question.
It's
Yeah.
okay.
I mean, does this count like the Google AI thing at the top where it's just like, hey,
Yeah.
That's
Wait a minute.
99%
This
then.
is
Shashi, why did you say 72% since you're the closest one by far?
I mean, for the same reason I just said, like the technology of most online shopping has become an agentic / chatbot / AI powered, right? So when you ask a question about, I mean, right now, even for Google, nobody is going there and just saying like one keyword and then progressing. They're just asking an entire question. Hey, what is the Consumer Reports recommended washer dryer that I should be buying? And the next spot that they land on is probably going to be a chatbot, even though it looks like a search. So the reason why they're saying that the search has actually become a chatbot.
What do you guys say?
if that's what they if that's what they put into the metric, then yeah, because I mean, many people use Google, and if Google is using AI to create results that say, hey, you should go and buy this, and they are counting that, then yeah, I could see the 60%.
Which they then use to support their valuations. I think the bigger question, I know you're not asking that, Brent, and I appreciate the survey. It's just, I think that's just where for everything, politics, anything, it all depends on how you have to question who you are. So yeah, it's okay. But if you would have said anything, of course, it's 90% of people, but.
Well, maybe it's the fact that this, once again, like all this technology stuff is adoption is just on speed dial, so to speak. I mean, we were thinking what we were talking about earlier when we started doing this show, how quickly like ChatGPT caught on from 0 to 100 million users like overnight. So is it really that surprising that as this stuff is getting more and more thrown in our face, that more and more people are using it?
It is, Brent, because the average person I still think is not, my mother, my sister who's not techie, they're not using it directly. But if you mean embedded, in that case, it's like saying how many people drive. If you count Uber and taxis, and we can just play with it. That's just, I'm firm on that. When you ask a question, if you're including everything that happens, the numbers, of course, go bigger. I thought you meant real people actively, proactively using it. So I stand
And
by my answer.
chatbot to me is a very vague term. I still see chatbot as that thing that pops up on your website. So if I'm on a specific website and the little bot pops up and it's that you can ask questions or so on and so forth. But I believe that now it could be like anything where there's like an exchange, like a chat, and you're chatting with a robot. That could be like anywhere. I wish they would define that. In most research studies, they would say, assuming that a chat bot is, and then they tell you what they're talking about. Have you used a chat bot to research and make a purchase today or in the last year or whatever?
I think some of these things the definition of some of these things are changing so quickly. It's hard to kind of nail it down because you might put this question out on a Monday and on a Friday, the thing that you were talking about is probably changed in its definition.
Well, that's why you should put that definition in the question. I have to assume that if they are a professional organization, that is in the question. It's just not in what we're
Andreessen
looking at.
Horowitz, definitely a professional organization.
Yeah.
Let's say hello to Sherry Burrell, or is it Burrell Sherry? Anybody know who she is?
Sherry
I'm gonna say
Burrell.
it's
Sherry Burrell.
Sherry Burrell. How are you?
Thank
Hi,
you for
Sherry.
joining us. Greetings from Burrell Worldwide, Beverly Hills. Oh, wow, Beverly Hills. We hit the big time on that one. All right. Interesting start to today's show. But I have another sort of data points, and I want to see if you agree with these. I'm not asking you the guess. I just want to see if you agree, because this is coming from Honeywell, and this is ripped from the headlines of Small Biz Trends about AI in retail. Sherry Burrell. All right. Thank you. Thank you for joining us. Now, this is another completely different outfit. Honeywell actually have one of their thermostats in my house. So see, they're probably using my data without me knowing. This is once again AI in retail. Over 50% of retail leaders stated AI improves employee retention. 52% believe AI helps employees advance their careers by enhancing soft skills and adding value to the roles. 60% of executives reported that AI tools simplify tasks. 55% noted that these tools increase job satisfaction. Do you agree with these numbers? Do you think these numbers are legit? Is that much positivity around what AI is doing in the workplace from an employee standpoint?
I could see it. One of the biggest things that I've used AI in, and what others that I've worked with have used AI in, is the mundane, the soul crushing work, coming up with a list of 100 widgets or something like that. It's mind numbing, and AI could do it in an instant, and all of a sudden that's taken off of that employee's responsibility. Yeah, I could see that being a bit of a benefit.
Nobody else has any thoughts on this?
Sure. Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. Yeah, I believe it. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know.
Ramon was being polite.
No, I mean the first one kind of tempered all the stats or stats. So yeah, I can believe it. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, I think it's cool. Yeah, I believe it. AI is cool. AI is powerful. AI is taking off. I believe it. Yeah.
I think there's a little bit of, I mean, people are so enamored with just ChatGPT and all the things that they can do. So they're very positive about, like, oh my God, I can just put one sentence into this thing and it spits out my entire strategy for the next 10 years. So there's a lot of, I would call this hype, because as they are saying this, they're also challenging their technology side of the business to say, like, hey, I need to use this for everything. And I think there will be like a curve. The satisfaction will soon become like, when there are restrictions placed on what they can use for their business, they'll start saying like, hey, we thought everything was great, but we are not able to use the things that make it easy for us, if that makes sense. No? Any reactions?
I don't know. This just strikes me as, did somebody say like AI overkill or whatever? I look at data and I'm like, this is all obvious to me, right? And I'm noticing the questions, and these are like HR questions. And I'm like, is AI really at the top of the list for like employees? About
Yeah, I'm
like
with you,
what's
Yvonne.
happening in their life. You know what? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm sort of like, I'm an overall meh.
Yeah. I'm
What
with you. It's like the
questions
study-
should these folks be asking? Let me ask you, what questions do you want? Because I think you're right. They're people usually tend to ask questions that are important to them, as opposed to what's really important to the folks they want to ask the questions to. So even what questions should we be seeing on these surveys when it comes to how employees are taking to using AI, how their life or their work life is being impacted, whether it's good, bad, or the other? What are the right questions that should be surveyed at this point?
Glad you brought that up, Brent. First and foremost is like the goal of the survey, right? Which is like, we don't know because we're not Honeywell, right? But if you're, and the goal of a survey is usually comes down to what business decision are you trying to make? And now you need data to support that decision. If the business decision you're trying to make, I'm just going to throw something out there based on the data we just saw, should we invest in AI licenses for each employee? Should we invest in platforms that have AI integrated, like some business decision you're trying to make? Those questions look like something you might ask to figure that out. Like, lots and lots of people finding it easy to do their jobs. So like, what decision are you trying to make? And to what degree does that data support that business decision? So for those of us not at Honeywell, or I don't know what the purpose of their data is, or is the purpose of their data just to put it in an article and get it published, right? It could be that too. So the questions you have to ask are the questions that are going to help you make a good business decision. Does Honeywell care about employees' work-life balance? And how are they going, or are they really just trying to do that to, I don't know, making something up, bring people back in the office? It's irrelevant, but you see what I'm saying. So the questions that you would ask would be questions that help you quantify something so that you can make a good business decision. If I know that half of my employees are using AI and they're happy with AI, and maybe here's another useful question, right? Like, if we are openly integrating AI products into our office infrastructure that makes your job easier, are you more likely to stay with us beyond 2 years, right? That's a useful survey question, because now you know that you're going to be retaining employees because those employees view you more positively or are able to have a work-life balance or whatever. Did that answer the question? Anybody else jump in? Wow. Brent.
Sounds good.
I was hoping somebody else would jump in.
No, this is deep for me, so I'm letting the expert analysts and all the guru people. I'm just about small business growth.
Ramon, no, I'm going to throw it back on you because you are who you are, or I like to say you are who you is.
Yes. Sir.
You talk to small businesses all day, every day.
Yeah.
How are they actually viewing? What is their real sentiment around how AI is impacting what they do? And what's the right questions to ask if you're not sure? What's the right way to ask the question to get the information that is important? Because I don't care about the marketing aspects of surveys, but of course these companies do. A lot of them are doing these surveys just so that they can put it out there and get some content and get some clicks and all that kind of stuff. But we want to know the actual, what are employees at small businesses really thinking about AI? How is it really impacting what they do? Are they feeling positive about it? Are they feeling negative about it? What's the best way to survey them or to get the feedback that will really, truly allow us to know the real deal, not what people in the marketing are trying to use to promote what they want to promote, but we want to know what's actually on their minds. How is this really impacting them? What's the best way to do it?
Sure. A few things I would say. One, you have to segment who we're defining as small business. I always think that's important because what SAP says is different than what QuickBooks says, is different than what Cody Sanchez says. Whoever, take your pick of the influencer of the day. We're talking about one less than $1 million, less than 500,000, or less than 10 million. So I think one, segmenting it. I think number two, once you segment it, you're talking about, hey, you own a contracting company that's a $25 million construction company, contracting company, and you have 20 employees, whatever it was, you'll get a different answer. So that's number two. After you segment it, and if I speak for those who are the smaller size business, less than 2 million, less than 3 million, where the owners still sign their own checks, then I think absolutely yes, the answer is AI is a game changer. They're using AI. They're seeing it as a competitive tool. They're seeing it as a competitive weapon. And what I'm seeing is there's a jump in 2 levels of AI. There's those who are just inputting the basic prompts. They're getting use out of that. And this is more of a minutia, but then I think there's others. And John, I think, knows this word. What I learned from him, in fact, on this is putting data in there. Seth Godin had a post recently about putting your data in there and getting customer insights. Sounds weird, but I think we're still seeing those who just input it. Hey, I'm a marketer. Could you give me some copy? Millions of us are doing that. But then those who are doing some really gangster prompt level stuff, and I think that's the demarcation. So yes, I think that small businesses definitely are seeing a benefit. But I guess my silence came when it was more so HR managers, this, that, and the other big corporate America. That's a different. But for the smaller business owner, we are using it to a huge degree and seeing a benefit. And last point I'll add is, as I think Shashi said, the embedding of it is. All these brands, QuickBooks, Salesforce, Zoho, mention them all. They're embedding it in cool ways. You go to your QuickBooks, and I don't have as much money as Evenus. So for me, it says, hey, we've pre-done an email for people who owe you money. This is why you're losing money in debt so much. Would you like us to follow up with these people who haven't paid you? So they're already pre-doing that with quote unquote AI. Back to you, Brent.
No, I want to hear from Mr. Lawson. He wrote the book. So what's up?
He did. And congratulations, John Lawson. Tell people what the book is, man. Just really, congratulations to you. I'm proud of you. If you don't mind, sorry, Brent, if you don't mind, just talk 2 seconds about that, what you did.
Yeah, we'll do it next time because I don't have the book with me yet.
I got you.
So anyway, but I will tell you, the day before yesterday, I did a SCORE webinar. 5,000 people registered for AI training, right? 5,000 registered, 2,100 live. The amount of questions I got at the end of the presentation was, I mean, like it looked like a scrolling screen after a movie theater. It was just going. And I'm going to have to kind of throw a little monkey wrench into everybody's assumptions here. What I found from the questions being asked and from interacting with a lot of small businesses, because, you know, I've been doing a tour with Verizon Small Business Digital Ready and speaking to small business owners. Honestly, these guys don't use AI, don't even know how to use AI, and quite frankly, seem to be a little afraid of using AI, you know, and I think more of that is because they don't know what they don't know. But yeah, I mean, I think we sit in our ivory towers of, you know, we're analysts, and we kind of embrace things very early in the game, way before, you know, Main Street actually gets into it. And I'm not really seeing people being as active with AI as they could be or should be. So it's kind of weird.
Follow up, John, if you don't mind, Brent, is it fair to say that that's why the demarcation and segmentation, which I said first, is important? Because I think if you segment it to those who are doing the course creators, thought leaders, online courses, we are using it in a huge way. But you're right. The smaller business that may be doing the 2-person construction shop, 3-person farm, they're probably not using it as much. So I think that's why I say to segment first, then ask the question.
Yeah.
I'm going to go back to the numbers too, because that's why I was curious to see what you guys. I think these numbers are ridiculous. I think they're way too high.
That's why I didn't say anything. I
was waiting for one of you all to call those numbers out. You called the first set of numbers out. Why did you call this? Anyway, I'm sorry. I digress. I think they're way too high here. I think you're close, John. I can't believe I'm doing.
Say it.
I think I agree with John. Excuse me, I threw up a little bit in my mouth. No, I completely agree with him. God, he's right. I think these numbers are just ridiculously way too high and way too positive. I think there's a lot of either they don't know because they have some fear, and the fear is not fear of technology, it's fear of losing their job or fear or hate. Thank you, Freddie, for laughing at me. But I think they're just way too positive. We know there's a lot of benefit to this, but there's a lot of people, particularly I think a lot of in the small business community, not in the high tech bubble that we live in, but outside of that either. I remember I went to Dreamforce of all places, and you know, I had a chance to talk to a couple of small business people, and one was a farmer. She had a small farm outside of California, and I asked her, because she's a Salesforce customer. I asked her, so are you excited about all this AI stuff that they're going to be letting small business people use? Like, she's like, I don't want to hear about it. I don't care about that stuff. I'm a farmer. I mean, I'm just trying to do things with the land. You know, I don't care about that. And I think there's a lot more people out there like that than there that are like these marketing driven inside the bubble folks. That's my opinion.
Hey, remember?
I have another, like I was reading this about retail leaders, right? What if this was about, like the kiosks that you have for ordering, right? That takes a little bit of pressure out of, fast food chains, or being able to search for stuff without waiting for an employee to come and tell you in which aisle this is. Technology like that already exists. Maybe it's AI added to that makes jobs easier. There are like the Amazon Dash checkout, right? That probably makes people's job a little bit easier. So if they only asked a very particular section of like retail stores, maybe it's limited to that.
I love how Ramon be commenting and on screen. And all that kind of stuff.
Hey, you guys remember, go back to maybe 2015. No, go back to maybe 2010, when social media was being started. And we would talk about how important social media is to small business and how much opportunity you had with social media. But then you would go to small business owners and be like, that's where you just buy, where you play Farmville. Nobody was taking social media or Facebook very seriously for small business. And then look where we are today. I mean, you can't even do business without it. I think that's where we are with AI right now, with those small business owners. They're not into it yet.
Right. By the way, I just want to acknowledge Abdi. First of all, thank you for joining us. You're over in Ethiopia. Wow, that's really cool that we're able to reach folks over there. I'm not familiar with how the global online markets work and how Ethiopia is tied in. Maybe we can get somebody on at some point that can speak to a little broader audience, because I think it's a great question. I just want to say thank you for watching, and hopefully maybe we'll be able to answer that question at some point in time. All right. Anything before we move on? This is kind of a nice spirited discussion. They usually are, though. Just today, I believe, the U.S. Supreme Court said that TikTok can be banned in the U.S. It can go forward. How big a deal is that? Do you actually think we're coming down to the 11th hour? I think Monday is when they can actually cut it off. Do you think it's actually Sunday? Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think it's actually that they're going to?
Two things are going to happen, Brent. I'll tell you exactly what's going to happen, because I know what's going to happen. Yeah, that's why I'm here on the show, Brent. I mean, let's just face it. But
I defer to the TikTok star Ramon Reyes.
Yes, anytime, absolutely. It's going to close on Sunday at about 9 o'clock.
Whoa!
Somebody's trying to. That wasn't me.
Who is that? That is weird. I'm all right. Everybody. Oh, better? Wait, that's Lee. I think
Testing 1 2.
No, that was Leland. I just
that was
Leland. Yeah, and I hear some static coming in.
Wow. Okay.
And
right. So
okay, sorry about that. Yeah.
Can y'all hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Cool. So Sunday at 9 o'clock, it's going to go dark for sure. No question about it. Monday morning, some big oligarch is going to buy it. Trump's going to come in and say he saved it, and it'll be back online. That's what's going to happen.
That's actually all right. I'm going to test Leland. Let's see. Still getting some static, but not as bad. We'll come back to you though. Yeah, we'll come back to you. All right. Anybody else want to take a guess? Does that scenario seems kind of plausible to me?
Today's Washington Post actually says that the Biden administration is trying to find ways not to take the decision till the new administration comes in. But I think they've got to figure a way out of like what the Supreme Court decision is. Personally, I don't think it's a big deal, because if not TikTok, they can always go to YouTube, Facebook Reels, or any other place that they have an audience. But I think my money is on Ramon Reyes' prediction that Elon Musk, he didn't say Elon Musk, but he seems to be the most likely candidate.
Mr. Beast is vying for it too.
Does
So
Mr. Beast have that much money? Have I been sleeping?
It's about raising the money. You know.
Right, raising. That's it.
Right,
You don't have to have
right.
it.
I
Well,
really
Elon
would
doesn't have to worry
I
about
would
raising
really
it.
like to hear what Leland has to say, because I am not the expert on this. I don't know where I read this. I've read it, heard it, something, right? So let's just leave it at that. But I heard some tech people talking, and they're saying it's not just about buying TikTok. The magic of TikTok, and this is a big small business conversation. The magic behind TikTok. What is it that you really want to buy that creates that experience? And that is the algorithm. And my understanding is the algorithm is not for sale. So that's sort of like buying a car without the engine.
Mhm.
And
So
that's a
Leland,
problem. So I'm
So
not
you're
saying,
basically what people would be buying is the user base, not.
database, yeah.
And I would not
I
want the
just
user
say
base.
there
I
are,
want the algorithm.
like
Not
most
the
things
tech.
in life and in business, it's complicated. So you have to, and that's why I'm saying what I'm saying with this big caveat, because these are things I've seen reported, heard people talking about, but I have not seen the actual document that says that if you're going to buy TikTok, this is all that's available for sale. My understanding is that the only thing that's available for sale is like a shell.
Man.
Like it's not, and that's the message to small business. Because I've been part of this kind of stuff where companies are like, oh, we're going to buy company X, but then you don't understand what is the golden goose at company X.
Yeah, the algorithm is the lead gen. Is the way that they built that huge platform of users. Why
It
would
is
you-
the magic. It is the
why
magic.
would you
and
want
I
to
do
buy-
not believe that's
Why
for
would you want to
sale.
buy TikTok without having the algorithm? That's like
Yes, I'm saying people try to simplify stuff, and like most things, it is not simple. Please, if anybody knows, or if you guys are researching, I just am not searching for it right now. But like, there is something that is not for sale. It's
Well,
what I've
Leland, didn't
heard.
you say you wanted Leland to you when Shashi?
Yeah, I would like
myself,
to
and
hear
John,
Leland
when
say.
Shashi, myself, and John Lawson spoke up. You were like, no, I don't want to hear from Shashi. I don't want to hear from John. No. Leland, I don't want to hear from him. So
Well, he's
where
our
does
resident tech expert. That's all.
Oh yeah.
you bring up an important point, Ivana. The main thing that the US government wants to prevent is TikTok's algorithm in influencing people to do something even if they should not be doing it, in a way, right? All social networks have that ability. This one is controlled by a government that's not in good terms with the US.
And so everybody went to, have you seen, see, I'm in marketing, so this is fascinating to me. So they got mad. TikTok users got mad, and they were like, oh, you think this is like a Chinese government? I'll give you Chinese government. They all went and downloaded Redbook. There you go.
Yep.
No.
Right. Which literally is when my understanding again is that when you, and people, and this is like totally dangerous. People have like had their bank accounts hacked. You are giving them your phone number. You are giving them stuff, and you're like, the terms of service are crazy.
Look
So
at that
I'm
comment,
not that
though.
brave.
Look
So-
at the comment. Look at what that says. Yes, the Chinese government is definitely mining my data, but so is Mark Zuckerberg. And
Exactly.
Zuckerberg's
Yep.
Facebook never gave me the perfect step-by-step tutorial of how to contour my face for a truly folly. I didn't write this. This is not my quote, by the way. But people are already saying that, you take away TikTok, that they don't care. They'll find somewhere else, even if it is another Chinese site.
Yeah.
It's not that easy, folks. I know it did. It's this is not a balloon. You don't get to squeeze it and people go to the other platforms. It's not that simple, guys. I hate the concept of if they close it, all the other ones they're gonna go these. It's not the same. It's just you can't do that. It's not going to happen that way.
Let me ask you this. The people that are most up in arms about, because quite honestly, I don't even use TikTok. I don't even know if I have an account. So I'm on the sidelines. I don't really give a damn. But the folks who really care are more than the folks who watch the videos, or the folks who make money off the videos. If they can't make money off the videos, they aren't going to be sticking around for TikTok. They're going to be looking for something else to go to. I mean, that's just
And they're not going
the
to
name
go
of
to
the beast.
Meta. They're mad at Meta because they
because
can't make
Meta
the kind of
started
money.
the whole thing.
Yeah,
But
and
I
they
think that
can't.
also this is where segmenting it comes in. And my daughter, she told me proudly, Dad, I made $200 today doing TikTok videos with ASMR, her chewing ice and doing those kind of things like this. Point being, she'll be upset. But again, that's where I think you have to segment the audience. There's people like her. She'll do whatever she's doing as a hobby, having fun. That's one audience. But then there's Joe Blow's construction company or cup company, whatever it is, who's using it as a marketing tool. It's the only platform he or she is on. That's the second segment. Then you have the advertisers. Now, L'Oreal and others, they don't give a whit. They'll just shift their marketing budget wherever they do it, do Super Bowl ads. So my point is what I'm saying is I think that's where segmenting the audience comes in.
Hey, let me dovetail on what I hate to do this too, but I actually think Ramon's onto something. But I think I don't think it's gonna be on Monday, because Monday Trump will be having his own little party.
Yes,
But-
it's got to be all about him.
Right.
On Monday, yeah.
But on Tuesday, Wednesday, I think he might come out with I've made a deal with China,
Yes.
and we're
Yeah.
going to say,
Yeah.
so I don't think it's actually going to get sold. I actually think China's going to keep it. And he's going to come out with some diplomatic thing that he's done with China.
But the laws,
to keep it.
John. So address that, meaning the Supreme Court has said U.S. Congress, for whether they read it or not, made the law. So that I understand you're saying there's going to have to be some finessing of that where, and to your point, John, even if U.S. Congress made the law, Trump controls the executive branch. What's the thing? Because that's the thing that happened with immigration, right? Whatever the law is, we'll enforce it or not. So to your point.
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
So basically, what we're saying is TikTok, in some form or fashion, is not really going to go away.
That's our bet.
Not for long.
Yes.
I mean, there might be a temporary blip or whatever you're saying,
Mhm.
but for the most part, it will be what it is today. It'll eventually be that on Tuesday or Wednesday or whatever.
New York Times will have a headline that's going to be a black headline, going dark with this outline of a computer screen. It'll be dark. New York Times will have that Sunday night on their website. Done.
It's already in the works, huh?
Correct.
Oh, okay.
They
All right.
have John, the long form copy they have. 77 things you can do without TikTok. The special, the graphics artists in the basement in New York Times Square already putting that together. They're ready. They're already ready.
I think that it all just depends on what Oracle does, because TikTok is hosted on Oracle's servers. And so if Oracle's like, yeah, I don't want to mess with the US government, there's nothing that, I mean, TikTok can then go and move somewhere else, but there might be an interruption of service, but that's where they're hosted. And if Oracle doesn't want to work with them,
Well, let's put it like this: Oracle, the leadership of Oracle, they are very aligned with the incoming administration.
That's right.
I think Safra Katz, who's the CEO, she might have actually been on his technology advisory council before his first stint. So, and Larry Ellison, I think Larry Ellison is pretty aligned with Trump as well. So, and Oracle and Larry Ellison are like mentors to Elon Musk. So there's a lot of connectivity there that says to me, TikTok will probably be around. It might be a little temporary glitch, but I think it's gonna be around.
And Brent, to Leland's point, I forgot about that, but that goes back to this. I mean, I can see a scenario, right? If TikTok, whatever the high level stuff is on Oracle, that's an easy, to your point, Trump coming in and saying, hey, we've saved it. It's on it, whatever, some LLC or whatever they call it, the highest level. So yeah, John, I think you and I, John, as always, our wisdom has transcended.
Oh,
and
I
we
gotta
are correct.
I think I'm gonna. Where's
Gonna
the
mute
bucket?
him. You're gonna
Yeah,
mute him.
Looking for a bucket at this point. It's getting kind of fit. All right. So Red Note. Is anybody here actually on Red Note?
No.
Never even heard of it. There's
I hadn't heard of it until like last week, and all of a sudden I started hearing about it constantly.
Everywhere. Yeah.
It was really
I've known
interesting.
about it for a while, and I've watched it go up because I've been tracking this TikTok conversation for a while. And what I think is so fascinating is that it's just people being really, it's a petty move. Petty, petty. They were like, we're not, like John said, we're not going to Meta. We're not going to Instagram. We're not going to Facebook. We might go to YouTube, but just watch. Just watch. and people were like downloading the app. People were having conversations. People are learning Mandarin. People are just like losing their minds. But what's really interesting is that in the early parts, the people who are on Rednote / Redbook and and now they're called quote unquote hashtag TikTok refugees and all of this stuff. But what just happened this week, if you guys have seen, is the Rednote people have separated. Now watch this. They've taken all the non-Chinese people and put them on other servers. So now what used to happen is, let's say you're a Chinese person who's an expat in the US and you're talking to your friends on Rednote in Mandarin, right? This is like your community. You just happen to be here. Well, now if your IP address is in the US, there's a wall. And now those people are pissed because the TikTok refugees have polluted Rednote and now they don't have access to their friends and family. It's drama. It's drama, people.
All right. So what does all this mean to like the main street small businesses? Do they get hurt at all by TikTok? A short outage, or is this something they have to worry about? Do you think?
I imagine that they'll be like, hey, TikTok's going away. And this is what I've seen on TikTokers. They're like, hey, I'm going to Rednote. They'll tell all of their followers, follow me on Rednote. And the average small business owner is going to be like, hey, I already got an Instagram account. I already got a Facebook account. I already got a Twitter account. I've already got Blue Sky. I've already got all of these kind of things. Pick your poison. I'm going to be over there.
People are overwhelmed. I mean, it's getting too
But they're
much.
really sad. There is back to that daggone algorithm. There's something about that algorithm
That's the beauty of it.
that has people love the TikTok experience so much. And back to the small business owners, there are like remote, there are some business owners who just skyrocketed. There is something about that algorithm that I've heard small business owners say, I didn't get a lot of traction on Instagram. I didn't get traction on YouTube. I didn't get traction anywhere else. I got traction here. And I think that is key because I think we see that a lot, right? We see that some people are successful on Twitter. Some people are successful on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Everyone has like their little sweet spot.
Yeah.
The main thing is the audience, right? Like 140 million, where will they go? Maybe they'll go back to whatever they were doing before TikTok.
And Shashi, let's divide the audience up, though. There's the people who are making serious money about it. There's business owners. There's the advertisers that don't. Let's not forget the lonely aspect, and I do mean that. There's probably millions on there to just, which they won't. It is what it is. They won't even bat an eye. They'll just go back to fax machines. So we have to segment the audience.
India banned TikTok, but the influencers are still making a lot of money.
Yeah, they said there was like $16 billion that TikTok has put into the U.S. taxable base or something like that, right? That's a lot.
Natasha Nurse said, Natasha, hey, good to have you here. Robert Kennedy, good to have you here. Friends of mine, glad y'all are here. So, yeah.
TikTok is more than a social media platform. It's an experience.
Yes.
Yep.
I'm with you.
No disagreement there.
What makes that different than like the YouTube social media platform? Isn't that also an experience?
Adults
It's
singing,
not a community.
that's how it started. And my kid said, Dad, don't go on TikTok. We don't want to see you singing or dancing.
It's not the same. It's a community.
I'm not saying it's the same, but it's a community of unto its own, which means it's an experience unto its own, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not like TikTok is an experience and YouTube isn't. It's just a different experience, right?
It's a different
Exactly.
experience.
Okay,
That's what I'm saying. It's not like a balloon. You can't squeeze it and everybody's. And another thing is too, don't think that TikTok's 160 million don't already have accounts on other platforms.
Right. Let's take this up too.
Do.
I want to talk about the way you can be seen and connect is like that's because the algorithm, which means I keep going back Why would anybody want TikTok if they
Without
don't
the
get
algorithm.
the algorithm? That makes absolutely
Yeah.
no sense to me.
Yeah, that,
It is.
How can you
That's
split that
I
up?
heard these like I said, I was like reading something and they were like, you got to really look into what's for sale. And I'm like, heck yeah, you got to look at what's for sale. Because
What-
I
is
don't
there
think
any-
the algorithm is. I don't think it is.
No.
Wasn't it
Yeah.
just like a couple
It's
weeks
right,
ago?
Leland. It's not for sale, is it?
It's not for sale, and
But it
I think
could
it's
be.
a lot of there's a lot more data too that they don't want, because I from what I've heard, there's a lot of, it's like what has been reported to the Chinese government, and they don't want that to be leaked. It's kind of like when Elon Musk got Twitter, all of a sudden everything that happened in Twitter before the purchase became public knowledge, and he started releasing the Twitter files.
Yeah.
TikTok doesn't want the TikTok files to be released, and it's
Oh.
like, oh, China's got this information on you, and they've been collecting this and this.
And Leland, what about the Patriot Act? Right? So this is technical and you probably know more about it than I do. So there are these encryption standards. So the US and our servers, we have encryption standards, right? So here in the US, so like TikTok you have these encryption standards and the servers that are of TikToks follow those standards and so on and so forth. But then there's something about like what based on the Patriot Act, these algorithms have to be a certain way, and like our government can monitor.
Oh, you mean you can't have over 256 or whatever the bit is encryption, something like that?
I don't know.
Can't be
I
too
just
powerful.
know that the TikTok does not have this, like our NSA can, how they wanted to
Yeah.
be able to
They
track
need the
all the
backdoor.
social media so that you can catch like Chatter and the terrorist
The
groups
backdoor to
and
it.
whatever. But TikTok kind of like is different. Don't ask me how. I don't know, but it's different. And that's one of the reasons why like we can't monitor it or something.
Well,
Leland, do you know anything about this?
I don't actually.
No? Okay.
Well, I was saying.
I was going to
even
say,
the backdoor and the encryption.
I was just going to say, part of the main designation of why this whole thing got started is because the data was being stored on data centers and data servers in China, and then they to try to get around this law or this movement that to get rid of TikTok, they tried to say that we can segment off the U.S. data from the Chinese data, and nobody was buying it. so it's really about where the data is geographically speaking, and who has access to it. And there's absolutely no way that even if the parent company is in China and the data is being segmented away in a U.S. data center, you can't tell me that the folks who own the data overall still can't access it, even if we're saying we're in China, your data is over here. It's safe. You don't have to worry about it. Absolutely not. You can't do that because you still have the key. There's still somebody that has the key, and it's usually the owner of the company who has the key. I don't care where it is.
But I want to go back to Natasha's point because I think it's outstanding. Where she said you can be seen and connect. Those are like key phrases, because think about how powerful Twitter was during what was it called, the
Muslim thing,
the spring, the Arab Spring.
Arab Spring.
Because at that point, that was our first experience, even though it was mostly through text and some images of people sharing their lived experience with the rest of the world. Right. Yeah. And I think that's what that's the point she's making.
Yeah, absolutely.
And
if it wasn't for TikTok, we wouldn't know what was going on in Israel either.
Yeah. I mean, it's just another level, right, John?
A whole nother level. When it came to the war over there, I was like, what are you talking about? She's like, oh, you haven't seen it? You haven't seen it? Oh my God. And I was like, no, I hadn't seen anything. It's a whole news cycle that was going on that social network. So, I mean, it's just like you said, there's just, man, it's going to have an impact. Will it have an impact on small business? Absolutely.
Absolutely. There are some, like I said, I think that what really hit for me is that there are some small businesses that got insane traction on TikTok that they had never had for. There is something about how that algorithm, maybe Ramon, your daughter knows better than I do, of how you are paid, rewarded, how you make money on that. Some of it is through the number of comments. Some of them is through different things that you sell. Some of it is through affiliate. I don't even know. It's complicated. But there are people who are crying because they're going to lose that ability to generate that income.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Like my vacuum store guy.
Yeah. But let's go back to, once again, it's the algorithm and it's the data, because the data makes the algorithms work and get smarter. How in the world would anybody buy the users without buying the data and the algorithms? I just don't see how that happens.
I mean, they could buy the shell, right? You could buy the quote unquote limited function of the app, the shell, right?
If that doesn't include the algorithms on how to draw people in and keep people, and the data that comes out of that, I don't want the user, because guess what? Users, after a while, they'll just go somewhere else. And even though you can still claim to have X amount of users, but how many are actually active? How many are actually there? And that starts to cannibalize, and they'll go somewhere else. Like this Red Note thing. I don't know how many people are there now, but it's just weird that all of a sudden that really cropped up, and within the last week or two for me. And this Blue Sky thing that cropped up about a month ago when all this stuff was going on with X. People can go wherever they want to go. It's that algorithm that kind of in the community that grows around the algorithm, I guess, that really keeps people there. And I don't know if any social network can exist for a long period of time without good data and a smart algorithm to cultivate that community. And if you break that up, I don't know what you have. So I don't know. Really interesting stuff. So
someone will buy it inevitably, because just remember, long after MySpace had died, Justin Timberlake bought it to try to revitalize it.
And look at it today.
Like, how did that go for him? By the way?
Spectacular. But someone will probably inevitably buy the shell, thinking maybe I can revitalize it. Maybe I can become the next TikTok and make billions of dollars, and then probably fail spectacularly because they don't have the algorithm, and it doesn't have that je ne sais quoi that, the original TikTok had.
And they say quoi. All right. Going French.
And since we asked, just the MySpace domain is active and live. I was curious myself. It looks like an entertainment artist type thing. Who knows who's going there? Probably no one, but it's there. Yeah. How much it's worth? Probably a pittance of what it was, but it's there.
Ramon, adjust your microphone again, because we can't hear you.
It's terrible. Thank you.
So we know Mr. Beast
That's a rare occasion that you can't hear Ramon. I can actually hear him without the internet.
All right.
Mr.
I was going to
Beast,
say,
go ahead.
So we know Mr. Beast was basically created by YouTube. Well, I knew that Cabby Lame guy was basically created by TikTok. Are there other folks that have gotten to? I mean, I saw Mr. Beast on the Amazon Prime football broadcast. I think he has some kind of some kind of show he's going on there now. So he's gone complete legit in terms of, from a social media platform to like actually getting paid big money by like an Amazon or a network of sorts.
And it's broke streaming records.
And yeah, it broke streaming records. I mean, are those days still? Are they going to be still around after, like, in the next couple of years, or are we going to get to a point where the algorithm really becomes the star and there is no huge person that comes out of it, but the algorithm wants to spread it around and make so that nobody gets too big and tries to claim too much attention or money on their own, but the algorithm wants to spread the wealth around because the algorithm, the company, is the one that wants to keep control. It seems like that's what happened on YouTube. Remember, like months ago, all these people are saying they're going to quit YouTube because the algorithm changed and it wasn't allowing their content to reach even their subscriber base anymore. They weren't getting the notifications, they weren't getting the updates, because YouTube is like, now we got so many people watching, billions of people. We don't need one or two stars anymore. we can spread it out because stars, they're a pain in the butt to deal with. But if we can spread out the stuff, use the algorithm to make sure that, you know, we keep things kind of on an even keel. The aggregate is still the same. It's just spread out beyond, you know, the 4 or 5 big people. Is that the end game for a lot of these things, so that we won't see these kind of Mr. Beast kind of folks or Cabby Lane? Because I still don't know why he got to be so popular just by doing this, but he did.
I think it's 3 things, Brent. I think one, I think you will still have the micro influencers. Myself, John Lawson, many of us micro influencers, take it whether we're a few thousand, few million, whatever. I think that'll always be. I think number 2, you'll have the larger micro influencers like a Mr. Beast who rock the algorithm and system, and deservedly, Joe Rogan's, whatever it was, they get the content. But I think you'll always have these big platforms, Amazon, Microsoft, whatever, and they can anoint who they want once they see you're good and make you a star. Shark Tank. So that's how I see the world. Still 3 pillars of micro influencers. I can make a little living being Ramon. No one may know me except a small group of people, and that's fine. That will always be that. 2, again, the bigger micro influencers. My mother doesn't know Mr. Beast, but have millions and millions that Call Me Daddy, Kamala, Charlemagne the God. All those will be there. And then 3rd level will go after it. Somebody will tap you, the Oprah of the world. Hey, be on my show, which already reaches millions of people, but that's controlled by the corporations and iHeartRadio and others. So that's how I see it.
Anybody else? Anybody else? By the way, Alan, my buddy Alan Berkson. It's funny we still say a network is going legit. I only said that because network still has lots of money, man. I mean, they got money in aggregate, and Mr. Beast, I'm sure, was shown a lot of that money to do what he did with Amazon. That's all. That's the reason I said that. All right, let's do the parting thoughts. We're gonna get out of here roughly on time. So, Shashi, party thought.
I mean, I think we should always think positive, no matter what happens, because there are always alternatives to how we do business. The most important thing is to keep the human element going. If you have a good relationship with your customers, businesses don't have to worry about anything. Just make sure you're managing your finances and the economy of your business very well.
Ramon.
Yeah, it's always good to be here. Listen, keep moving, no matter what the algorithm is, how it changes, how it goes. You, be nice to people, uplift the world, make it a better place, and add value.
Mr. Lawson just got back in time for his parting thought.
This is not business-wise, but next week we have a transition of power in our country. Let's once again be a beacon of hope for the rest of the world to show how a peaceful transition actually works.
And John, sorry, because I know you got a call afterwards. I have your ticket, John. Sorry, I forgot to give it to you. I have your ticket for your inauguration. It's 4A2C. I forgot to give it to you. I'll give it to you tomorrow when I see you at our meeting at Starbucks. Sorry. Go ahead, or Leland. Sorry.
Let's go with Leland.
Meet your customers where they're at. Age ranges, different age groups go to different social media platforms. So meet your customers where they're at, engage with them, talk with them, like their comments, comment back. And when you do that, you're going to build a bigger and bigger community. And no matter where you're at, you may not find like the immediate success at TikTok, but you'll find a success in growth.
Ooh, that's very nice. Very positive. Like that, Leland. All right. And Madam Mic Drop. We missed you last week. I
know. And I missed you guys as always. My parting thought for today is my theme for the month of January is to strive for clarity around your business. Clarity is your biggest competitive advantage. Think about it. If you are clear about what the opportunities are in your market, who your ideal customer is, what's important to them, the messaging that you're doing, and the simple one of 3 strategies that you're going to take. Like, are you going to do content? Are you going to do direct? Or are you going to do advertising? If you can be infinitely clear on those things, then all of these shifts that we've been talking about today are going to be much easier to handle. So the way we've been taught to do market plans and business plans, is to write these things out. But I think what's shifting is that these things have to be a little bit more organic and squishy. So you set your goals, you make your plan. But if you're really, really clear about the things I talked about, it's going to be so much easier for you to switch to these different experiences and channels.
Hey, Amber. Yeah, you definitely got to rewatch this. I agree with you. And also watch 5 o'clock, the usual Friday, you know, when I school your boy. Anyway, my parting thought. I'm going to see Leland. I'm going to see Shashi. I'm going to see the cold one, the bold one. Because they're all coming to Atlanta. They are coming to Atlanta next week for the event I'm co-organizing with my buddy Paul Greenberg. It's called IRL 2025. We're invite only into the Atlanta Tech Village in Buckhead, but virtually people can watch. We're going to have 4 streams of content going on at the same time. You're even going to see me do my thing against the bold one, the cold one, in front of a live studio audience. Oh, Alan Berkson will be there too. And yeah, you bring the cold weather with you. So yes, we will be live. I will make sure we put the link out so people can watch the general session, the shows that are being streamed. We even got a Monday Night Football set up where we're going to have like a Manning cast where people who are watching the event having a watch party, and you can watch that too. We're going to have the Heather Willems, who's doing the visualizations as people are doing their keynote. She's going to be sketching it all out. We got a Heather Cam set up. We got lots of stuff going on. So I am very excited about this. I don't know if I'll survive after it's over, but once again, IRL2025.com is the website. You can register virtually and watch all this stuff in the comfort of your warm home if you can't come to Atlanta. So thank you. We will be back next week. This was another great show. We got over 143 people watching right now, and that's really cool stuff. So we will be back next week after the inauguration. It'll be interesting to see, and what will happen with TikTok. We'll be talking about that, I'm sure. So you're gonna have to come back. Have a great week. Have a great week. We'll see you then.
Thanks, everyone.